Tell you what, Greg Biffle in that 16 car, who's been strong all night long, sat on the pole. He's reeling in Dale Earnhardt Jr. back there.
I think Biffle has a stronger car than we have seen evidence of most of this evening.
I think you're right, and I don't think Dale Jr. will put up much of a fight right now. He knows Biffle's a little quicker. Probably let him go on by. Don't want him riding your back bumper.
Biffle has been very patient in picking his times to run for the lead.
Well, he's won here twice. He knows what it takes to win, and he knows that there's still over 200 laps to go in this race.
I know we're looking at Biffle and Dale Jr., but look at that car behind them. That's closing up mighty, mighty quickly.
Martin Truex Jr. in that one car had a great run at Richmond last week, finished up in the top 5.
And that car just gets faster and faster as the night goes along.
He's the faster of the 3, and right behind him is Jeff Gordon, who's faster yet.
Truex and Travis Kvapil have just in the last couple of laps run their quickest lap of the race. Here goes Biffle for the lead, and Junior lifts and lets him go.
Yeah, it's a good, safe way to do it. Right in the middle of the straightaway, get out of the gas, hits the skosh, let that guy get by and go back to racing.
And that's where you'll lose the least amount of time doing it that way.
That's that word I constantly use when you talk about Darlington, anticipation. Anticipate where people are going to catch you, where you're going to catch them, so you can make the pass safely.
And says to his former teammate Martin Truex, in effect, you go up and wear him out. I'm going to ride a while.
They see the same things we do. They look at the stopwatch Tony Jr. does. He says, Dale Jr., those cars are faster than you. Don't race them right now.
Kyle Busch in the 18 car had that penalty for a lug nut the last caution. He has now worked his way back into the top 15. 2 restarts ago, he restarted 23rd. He's working on Bobby Labonte in the 43 car. That puts him actually up to 13th now. You know, another good car having a great run right behind Bobby Labonte is David Rudiman in that 44 car. He's been running in the top 15 most of the race. Started all the way back in 30th. Definitely the better of the Michael Waltrip racing cars tonight.
Larry had a great run here last night. He finished 3rd in that race last night. I think that really helped him as far as his car and his confidence for tonight. He is running great.
You know, the car that Kyle Busch has zeroed in now is Matt Kenseth in that 17 car. Even though probably he's going to lose that position, I tell you what, that team, they've made a great recovery over the weekend because Matt qualified back in 34th. He hit the wall on Thursday with this race car, had a hard crash last night in the Nationwide Series. Definitely he's going to lose this position, but I think they're gaining on this 17 car here at Darlington. Darlington's kind of a Matt Kenseth type of racetrack.
It really is, and you just saw Kyle Busch go down on the apron to make the pass. Gives a nice wave to Matt, says thank you very much. You can use the apron quite a bit here without any problem.
Whether you can use it or not, DW, you know that Kyle Busch will use the apron.
Yeah, I saw him pass 2 or 3 cars down there a little bit earlier when they were kind of bottled up a little bit. He likes to do that.
Jeff Burton, Kurt Busch, 9th and 10th place.
I think right now, Larry and Mike, anybody that's running in the top 12, 15, they could win this race.
Yep.
If you're running good enough right now to maintain that kind of position, you're a contender for this win.
Creeping up toward halfway, let's go back to lap 123 and name Greg Biffle our All-State Good Hands driver. This is one of the most incredible saves I've ever seen at this racetrack.
I mean, right in the middle of the corner, Kyle Busch in the 18 gets in the back of him. He is completely sideways, loses a spot, but he recovers.
But you know what he did, which not a lot of guys can do? He drove out of it. You see that right rear smoking? He didn't jump on the brake and say, oh, I'm spinning out. He stayed in the gas and drove that thing out of there.
All-State, are you in good hands? Kyle Petty spent a bunch of time in the garage after hitting the wall. Greg Biffle laps past him. Only 1 car in the garage right now. That is Kevin Harvick, and they intend to return. So 42 cars running, 24 of them on the lead lap at lap 166.
You know, a couple of cars up in the top 10 right now. We've talked about them a little bit. One of them is Dave Blaney in the 22 car. We talked about him coming in here just outside the top 35 in points. They had their best finish of the season last week at Richmond. They finished 18th. I just feel like I said it yesterday that missing the Talladega race was a wake-up call to this race team. They put the full 4 press on testing, and here he is running up in the 8th position after a pretty decent qualifying run.
And I think you're right, Larry, because the way the Toyotas all ran at Talladega, you knew that it wasn't an engine problem. It was something wrong with your race car.
Speaking of something wrong, let's have a look at our defending series champ, Jimmy Johnson. He is running in 5th place, and his lap times are within half a second of the leader. So, Matt, what's the problem?
Mike, Scott Maxim and several members from the Hendrick Motorsports engine department have made their way to the 48. Jimmy Johnson, the concern here, possible alternator problems. Chad Canals has told Jimmy, shut off all the fans. The good thing for Jimmy, his drink filtration system is run off a different battery. They told him to leave that alone. Also told him in a few laps to try switching ignition boxes as well. But there is some concern here on the alternator on the 48.
This is a very physically and mentally demanding race. I wouldn't want to be without my cool box because it's pretty hot out there tonight. It's 75 degrees. I saw a couple of drivers sticking their hand out the window to get a little fresh air going down the straightaway.
Pole sitter Greg Biffle has a 2.8 second lead, 170 laps into the Dodge Challenger 500.
I like the way this one's looking. Stay tuned for more NASCAR on Fox.
Greg Biffle leads, Martin Truex second, Jeff Gordon has moved into 3rd. Dale Earnhardt Jr. continues to run in 4th place despite a bout with the turn 2 wall. Here's what happened to Jr. a couple of laps ago. And that's how Jeff Gordon got to 3rd place. Here's what Jeff saw of that. That looked like a light hit from that angle. Watch it from this one.
Yikes. That was a little bit more than lightly and slightly. That was not politely.
But I think that right there is a product that has been our theme since the pre-race show came on the air, is you can never relax here. You can never let your guard down.
Sam Hornish puts the Darlington stripe count up to 20 to put another one on the turn 4 wall 2 laps ago.
And I think that's actually a conservative number. Very conservative.
I think it'd be easier to say how many haven't hit the wall themselves.
Hey, you have to earn your stripes here.
But meanwhile, Greg Biffle in this 16 car, he has worked his way out to about a 3-second lead over Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 car, as he's now working on Robbie Gordon. Right now, Robbie Gordon in the 7 is 4 laps down in this car.
Biffle's car tonight looks like Denny Hamlin's did last week. On a rail, running a pretty perfect race right now.
You see vote for Robbie on the side of the number 7. He's not involved in the presidential primaries, but Robbie Gordon would like to get voted into the Sprint All-Star race that you'll see next Saturday night on Speed. And your fan vote will decide the final starter in the All-Star race.
Dale Jr. told me that he was voting for Elliott Sadler. Just FYI, if that means anything to you.
Well, it's hard to believe Casey Kane's not in it. He hasn't won in a while.
I got a feeling he might be able to race his way right on up in there.
And 2 drivers will.
And you look at guys right now that's having good runs like Travis Kvapil, Dave Blaney, David Reagan. Darrell mentioned anybody in the top 15 right now could still win this race. Remember, if you're a guy that's not in that all-star race and you win the night, you can get in. This would be the last entry by winning here. And there goes Kyle Busch in the 18. That will now move him up well into the top 10. He's going by David Reagan. That moves him up to 9th.
That's pretty good recovery, buddy. When you come from the back of the pack.
And with a car that's been plagued with brake problems most of the night.
Could be a real advantage. When you're behind that many cars, no brakes is a good thing, I reckon.
Well, Kyle is hoping that Darlington is not the temple of doom for that 18 team or for the race leader. Matt, what's up with Biffle?
A lot of conversation back and forth between the Dregs, Irwin, and Biffle about a possible vibration. At one point, Greg Biffle thought he might have a wheel bearing issue. They're not exactly sure what their issue is, but they do have a bad vibration.